Did it fall out?
No, she took it out.
Did she give him a
put it on the
choice?
bedside table.
Did she give him a choice?
So that during his initial act of sex, the first time that he's ever had sex,
was with someone with no eye in her
but
head.
her eye was also
hold on.
looking at her from the side of the bed table.
Right.
Did it have a recorder?
She was watching them.
What?
That's a little too Black Mirror, by the way.
That was like early 90s. There's no recorder.
Because that would be cool if she had she could just hit record and then she could go home and watch it.
That would be cool.
No, that would be unconsented recording of somebody's sexual act. That's actually assault, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Is that what you're promoting here?
Hashtag me too.
Danielle's like, hashtag unconsented recording.
I was going to say me too. Oh, I don't...
That's better than 2 glass eyes, by the way. That'd be really weird.
You're the best. You're the best. Oh, hey, look at his water bottle. You said you wanted one of his
I want the
stickers.
chicken sticker.
Oh, the chicken sticker?
Yeah.
The Petaluma sticker?
Yes.
That's at Fieldworks.
Okay.
Yeah, but what other sticker? Tell us about your You're Beautiful sticker.
Oh, the You Are Beautiful. Oh, yeah. So if you've seen them around, like I have.
I've seen 1 or 2.
So it's not necessarily me, but like I belong to. So there's a guy named Matthew that I met in Chicago, and he had this concept where he just spray painted "You Are Beautiful" on this bridge on the north side to kind of get the attention of this girl that he was dating, and it was like on her commute to work, on her commute to the train, to the L. And then he turned it into a whole thing where he would put it and he would climb weird places and tag, like he tagged the little water tower that's on top of the Chicago Board of Trade and painted it white and then put it in black. You Are Beautiful. Started doing it everywhere. Did a couple of exhibits. Now it's an entire industry, youarebeautiful.org, in which I am a member and I get 30 of those You Are Beautiful stickers every month.
Oh, every month.
Every month?
And then I get a 31st one that is like especially designed by a random artist. Like they kind of solicit artists to design them for every month. So I get 30 of them. And if you go to my house, I have like a little bowl that they're in there. And they're also in other places that I just kind of leave them around. And like I went to a music festival last weekend. I just kind of toss them around. I'll put them on things. I try to be discreet about where they're at and also a little bit where whoever finds them won't get super uncomfortable with them. Like I've put them on a couple of cars where they were being really jerks. Like I really want to make a bumper sticker that looks like caution tape that comes on a caution tape roll. This is caution. I don't know how to use a blinker, and just put it on there because as a former I used to cycle in San Francisco and Chicago, and
critical mass guy.
Yeah, and it really got to me that cars just didn't pay attention to things like that. I will say a good portion, up to 49.9% of cyclists are assholes, but it's really a defensive thing. It's kind of like being like, a turtle without its shell. Like the mass that happens, like if you hit a car or a tree, you're just going to lose that,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to bother me if I'm in a car.
Yeah, in a car, they're going to be like frightened by that, but really like the bike needs to defer. However, in California, a bike is a vehicle if it's being operated on the street. So, you should be the same.
Yeah.
Did
so
you
stop.
Eye roll?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
You eye rolled.
I did eye roll.
You did eye roll.
Yeah.
Oh my
Bike is a
gosh.
vehicle. You're like, oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
You're like,
agree with it. I don't agree
You're in
with
a
it.
car.
Agree
I
with
got
what?
power.
A bike is a
I have
vehicle.
more mass.
But that's how you have to treat it legally. There's no other way to do it because you have pedestrians.
By the way,
in
we're
law.
talking legally. So,
Yeah.
So if you're
you don't have
operating a
choice.
bike
It's
and
the
you're
law.
on a sidewalk,
Danielle,
you're
it's
in
the
violation.
law.
Because
It's the
that is
law.
No, but what
pedestrian
about the
world.
times that...
LAW law.
Can you shut the hell up, Mr. Policeman over here? Oh, God, I have a whole police story, too. Let's get to that next week. God, I lost my... Oh, if you're going out bike rides, so I have 2 kids, obviously, and so since they're toddlers, my son, when he was 3.5, learned how to ride a bike on, with 2 wheels. And do you think I'm going to put him on the street and ride the bike down the street? No, I'm going to let him ride on the fucking sidewalk because he's 5 years old. And
Sure, I get that, but I think that like here at Keller, like you see people on occasion because it's a relatively busy street coming off of a left turn of another busy street. People gun it because they want to get to the thing or they want to get to the other thing or whatever it is. Like they're angry generally. And if I was a cyclist out in your Keller, I would never use this street. It's just and the next one up.
Exactly. But why do I have to get a ticket for that? I'm being safe.
If you're on the sidewalk.
Yes.
You're not being safe.
I am.
Because how many times do you walk out of a storefront onto a sidewalk and expect that a cyclist is going to come from your left or right? You don't. It's all about contact. That's how we all live together.
Yeah, come
Back to
on,
empathy. It's how we all
Danielle.
live together. So we all have this
Do we
agreement.
talk about empathy or do we talk about
Intimacy. Empathy is it's similar. They're adjacent.
How do you
Adjacent.
merge the two?
Intimacy?
Intimacy.
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 Intimacy
You
is
heard it
the
first.
romantic things of insects.
All right,
Intimacy.
so let me just get back to the whole intimacy thing, and then we're
Yes.
going to put a bow on it because I feel like I didn't get to finish that.
Oh, by the way,
I decided,
we're at an hour and
yeah,
6.
whatever. I decided that I'm going to be. This is not intimate, but it reminded me that I've decided that I'm going to start getting vulnerable in real life. You guys,
that is intimate. That's good.
It's scary as fuck is what it is.
Why? Of course it's scary. It should be, but why is it scary for you?
Right, but I've decided today, the Superman guy decided it for me that I'm going to be...
He had nothing to do with it. It's all you.
Well, he reminded me that I should be.
There you go.
Basically. Wait a minute. How can you use vulnerable and Superman in the same sentence? He's invulnerable.
Because here's the thing. I realized that as I've been like diving into like what my podcast means to me and all of the stuff, I realized that, yes, there's a difference between the things that I say that are probably more explicit than what most people are comfortable talking about. So maybe there's a little intimacy there or whatever, right? But that doesn't make me feel vulnerable. What makes me feel vulnerable is talking about my feelings. I tell you about all this stuff, but I don't tell you about the feelings. So this is what I decided. This is like where we end up on the podcast next week. Coming next week. Oh, it can't be next week because we have a bunch of rock stars on the band next week or on the podcast next week. The week after, I'm going to start being vulnerable. So now, not only am I going to tell you my dating stories, I'm going to tell you about how they made me feel.
Holy.
It's good.
When did this happen?
Just today.
Okay.
This morning when I was hinging with people.
I think that's not a bad idea because I think that's something I did for myself last December.
It scares the shit
when I
out of me.
did a 10-day silent retreat where I didn't communicate with anybody for 10 days, didn't speak, didn't utter anything, didn't make eye contact with anybody, didn't write anything, didn't read anything. And the whole, you distill down as part of it's called Vipassana. It's a form of meditation, loosely affiliated with maybe the Buddhist teachings, but maybe not. It's not really that important. But the whole idea is that you put yourself in an isolation booth effectively and see how you handle things, how you think about things, what thoughts come into your mind, and attach them and say, those are thoughts and then they're gone. Those are thoughts and then they're gone. And the idea is that you are yourself and you are the makeup of all your decisions and all of your relationships, all of your interactions. And if you're not comfortable with them, positive, negative, or otherwise, then you are not comfortable with yourself, and you need to, address that if you want to make that change. And so that's what got me to the decision of I need to leave my job. I came back from that and I quit my job. I stayed around for another 3 months.
I might not be doing that.
That was the last Black Mirror.
I'm going to go do Zumba. Maybe Zumba will be my version.
I've never seen Black Mirror either. People keep saying.
Don't see
watch it, but
definitely don't listen to Phil's recommendation for which episode you should watch because it'll scar you for life.
I'm curious. I like to know
Black
things.
Mirror.
What was the episode?
Black Mirror curious.
Yeah,
it's fine.
But it's a sci-fi thing in which it's kind of
it's the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's
set with kind of a sci-fi hook and modern times.
Okay,
it left me the one episode that I watched actually left me very
which is one of the best. That's one of the most feel good episodes.
No, it was horrible. I couldn't sleep that night.
Why were you vulnerable? Like what disturbs you?
What was the trigger? How did it trigger you? Danielle Strobel.
It made me feel, so it was the episode in which basically a computer tells you how long you have to be with somebody. And in one of the couples, within 1 hour, 1 minute maybe.
Can I frame it?
No. They knew that they hated each other. But they had to be together for like 5 years.
By the government. The government
and
decided
in my life, I was
other.
like, I've been in that relationship before where I didn't know how to get
like,
out. And I like all of these old feelings came back up and I was like, oh my God, if I had to live my life right now with somebody that I don't know what I would do.
So
that's good.
I don't know what I would do.
Panic
That's a good
attack.
thing. I think anytime
I
you
had
come
a
up with
panic.
something,
I almost had
did.
a panic attack.
Anytime you come up with a feeling that is that dramatic or that whatever, there's no such thing as overreaction. Like there's just a reaction. That's great. That lets you know like that's not something you want to be in. So that tells you that you have the ability that if you're in a position where you're like, despite this oracle is telling me to stay with this person for 5 years, I'm not into it. That's good.
I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah. In 5 minutes.
Or you could go to jail in that episode.
Oh, that was the punishment?
There was no choice. The government set you up for 5 years.
Or it didn't matter. Like sometimes you'd show up at a table basically and you'd see it and then the computer would go like, oh, 5 minutes or 5 years or 3 years or 20 days or like, you didn't know.
So
if outside of the science fiction world, if you could know that, if you could know how something was going to end, would you even engage with it? Like if you knew you met this person, Superman, jeweler, whatever, and you're like, hey, I want to see where this is going to go. And you ran it through some sort of something that was going to give you the answer and it was correct. It wasn't like hypothetical. It was correct. Would you want to know that information?
Well,
that's the whole point.
Here's the thing. There is a relationship I'm using in quotes,
quotes
that I've been in over a period of time in which I know 100% that so let's just say we're going to see each other tonight.
Yeah.
I know 100% that in 24 hours, I'm going to be fucking miserable.
Because?
For a number of reasons.
Like the energy just gets...
Yes, my energy is going to go from here into the toilet. I know it, but I can't say no.
Is that like drinking too much?
Oh my God. See, I just got a little bit vulnerable on my podcast.
That's fine. So,
scary.
Do you think that you can't say no because there's some sort of historical obligation? Because things evolve.
Because it's so good when we're together.
But then where does the energy go?
Yeah.
Because it's so bad when it's over.
Oh, so it's like a longing thing? I mean,
it's me
kind of
choosing
like in the area of
we could do the
short-term
vulnerability
satisfaction over, like, I'm actively choosing for a particular time, which is usually a couple of hours.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be on top of the world.
Yeah.
And I know that when those couple of hours are going to be over, I'm going to be mentally exhausted, emotionally exhausted, physically exhausted, and non-functioning.
Okay, do you realize that's addictive behavior?
I do realize that.
Okay, I mean, it's
my
cigarettes
first
to heroin
addictive
to
behavior
whatever.
in my life. This is where I'm feeling vulnerable right now because I'm very
So
well aware of that.
It's fine, but you're aware of it.
But it's only happening with.
So you have all the tools you need. You know, you're aware of the situation. You've already said, I predict this is going to happen. And maybe you'll be surprised. Maybe in 24 hours, you'll be like, oh, I feel okay. I don't feel horrible. I don't feel great, but I'm okay. Right? So you just learn all those things together. And after a while, you'll decide that the scales are tipped, but you have to make that decision.
I'm getting there. But also now I'm really getting to the point where I might not want to publish this podcast.
Okay.
The vulnerability.
Yes, that's it. That's
lights
why I've
flashing.
been very nervous about doing this on my podcast.
So
I feel like it's important.
I can give you a little bit of advice on that. I did
judged.
something. I produced a little
let's talk about you.
20-minute piece, like a little history story about a year ago, and I was like so excited. There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of like anticipation. There's a lot of anxiety about it. So I finally finished it, published it out to the world, and then felt like, ooh, I got to hide behind a rock because I'm afraid of the reaction I'm going to get, like where everything exactly the way it
That's
needed
how I
to
feel
be.
right now.
Yeah, no, it did, like 10 people have listened to that.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah, I submitted it to a bunch of festivals, never got any attention. Nobody's ever heard it. It's fine, but I love it.
What if Superman hears that though?
What do you care? You know what I mean?
I really don't actually.
Yeah.
Actually, I thought he heard everything.
You also realize that there's something like you are the horrible person in somebody else's story. Like you're the
for sure. I've been that for years.
Right.
No
so,
way.
But the other thing is that there's people right now who have information about other people that they just make their own judgments. But whatever. Like you can't be interested in any of that information.
Okay.
It's only your reaction is what you can control and you can own.
Okay. Here's how I'm going to spin it.
Okay.
I'm just going to turn this into content creation.
What does that mean?
I'm going to go into content creation tomorrow, and I'm going to write a blog about how vulnerable I feel right now and how I really want you to listen to this podcast, but now I don't because I'm afraid that everybody's going to know that I have an addiction.
It's just honesty journaling. You're just basically saying,
all right,
this is how I feel about something.
I'm going to go write in my journal tonight. What are you doing?
I'm looking. Terms of endearment was a Post-it?
It was after we were talking about it. I want to watch it.
Oh, okay. That's a mid.
Did you think that was
I was like,
it's really dated.
How is that
I think that
possible?
you will love. I think it's Shirley MacLaine. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate watching old movies though because I get triggered by the ugly photography.
It's a different kind of photography. I think it's the soft 80s.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of brown.
80s.
Like the ordinary people or Kramer versus Kramer.
Kramer versus, it's very much the same period of time.
That style.
But it's
Home Alone. All in the same genre.
That was 90s, right?
Yeah, it was 90s.
Whatever.
But,
I'm afraid to know that.
Similar
say
look,
that
though.
I actually I didn't watch Terms of Endearment, but I watched Home Alone.
No, I mean, Terms of Endearment is a drama, to be sure. I got some.
Did you ever watch Sophie's Choice?
Yes.
I didn't. But I have the book.
What the fuck was that?
I have the book on my bedside
it's
table.
funny when
I've read 20 pages.
When I lived in Chicago, people would say like, "Where do you live?" Because it's a thing. Like, what neighborhood are you from? And I loved that because people would say that, and I kind of lived in weird neighborhoods, a handful of them, and people would always say, like, "Where do you live?" And I'd say, "Oh, do you know where like Montrose Beach is?" And like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, well, that doesn't help. I don't live anywhere near that."
That goes back to
have you seen Sophie's Choice? I haven't.
That's from The Quiet Man. John Wayne.
Is that John Wayne thing?
Yeah. Quiet Man. There's this
John Wayne.
Irish guy, and he goes, "Do you see the road going up over the hill?" And he's, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, don't go that way."
Oh my gosh, we're gonna wrap this up.
Okay.
Look at this Podifornia sticker. Can you put this on your
Wine bottle?
on your Do you have room on that bottle?
Have you seen my car? I have plenty of room for stickers.
All right, take that one.
Yeah.
Podifornia. That's Phil.
Yay,
Philly
it's the
Phil's
network.
dude deal.
I like it.